The envelope landed on my plate with a soft thud, not beside it, on it, right on top of the salmon I hadn't touched. My father was mid-laugh, telling some story about his golf game when he slid it across the white tablecloth like it was a tip for the waiter. My brother Ryan picked it up first, turned it over, grinned. "Open it," my father said. Not to me, to Ryan. Inside, a check for $47,000, made out to Ryan Mitchell and Vanessa Torres. Memo line, Family Fund, the real one. My father raised his glass. "To my son's wedding, June at the Sentinel, 300 guests. The Mitchell family doesn't do things halfway." Ryan's fiancé squealed. My mother smiled that tight smile she does when she's pretending everything is fine. And me? I sat there staring at that check, at the money my parents had promised me since I was 16, the fund they'd told me was safely invested for your future, now signed away to my brother who'd never saved a dollar in his life. My name is Zoe Mitchell. I'm 28 years old. I'm a trauma physical therapist. And sitting next to me was Marcus Chen, the man my family still calls your tech boyfriend, because they think he fixes computers for a living. He's not what they think. And tonight, they're about to find out exactly how wrong they've been about both of us. Let me tell you how we got here. I grew up in West Lynn, just outside Portland. My father, Dennis Mitchell, owns a commercial real estate firm. Nothing huge, but successful enough for a nice house, private school tuition for Ryan, and yearly ski trips to Bachelor. My mother died when I was 7, aneurysm. Here one morning, gone by afternoon. I remember her hands braiding my hair, the way she smelled of coffee and Chanel No. 5. I remember her telling me I could be anything. 3 years later, Dad remarried. Carolyn brought her son Ryan into our family. He was 13 to my 10. Within a year, the house had new rules. Ryan was going through a difficult transition. Ryan needed extra support. Ryan deserved our understanding. I learned to be invisible. When Ryan got suspended for fighting in 8th grade, they sent him to a therapist and bought him new hockey equipment to redirect his energy. When I asked to join the robotics club, I was told we need to be mindful of expenses this year. When Ryan crashed Dad's Lexus at 17, Dad bought him a used Tacoma so he could learn responsibility. When I asked for help with my AP exam fees, I was told, "You're resourceful, you'll figure it out." There was one person who saw through it, my grandmother, Ruth Mitchell, Dad's mother. She'd pull me aside at family dinners, ask about my grades, my dreams. "You have your mother's fire," she'd tell me. "Don't let anyone put it out." She died of cancer 4 years ago. I was the only family member who visited her in hospice every single day. The day everything changed, I was 22, fresh out of my DPT program, $90,000 in student loans, working at a rehabilitation clinic in Northeast Portland. Dad called me to his office, home office, all dark wood and framed photos of him with local politicians. Carolyn stood behind his chair, united front. "Zoe, we need to talk about family resources," began Dad. "Ryan's been accepted to a real estate development program in San Diego. It's expensive, but it's an investment in the family business. He'll eventually take over Mitchell Properties." I knew what was coming. "The education fund we'd set aside for you, we need to redirect it, just temporarily. Ryan's program will benefit everyone. Once he's established, he'll be able to help you out." I sat completely still. "You promised that money for my wedding." "You're not even engaged," Carolyn said, voice honey-sweet. "And honestly, with your loans, a big wedding seems impractical. You'll probably want something small anyway." Dad nodded. "Ryan needs this now. You're already working, you're stable. This is about family." I left that office and didn't speak to them for 3 weeks. When I finally answered their calls, they acted like nothing had happened. The money was already gone. What they didn't know? Grandma Ruth had left me something, a trust fund administered by a lawyer named Patricia Kim, $580,000. Her letter was short. Zoe, I know what your father did with your mother's life insurance money. He put it in the family fund and spent it on Ryan's private school. I confronted him. He said I was interfering. This money is yours alone. Build something they can't take. When they finally see your worth, make sure you're already gone. I didn't touch it right away. Instead, I worked 70-hour weeks, paid down my loans, lived in a studio apartment in Gresham where I could hear my neighbors' arguments through the walls. I met Marcus Chen at a medical device conference 3 years ago. He was keynoting about AI applications in rehabilitation technology. Brilliant, quiet, kind. We started dating slowly, coffee, then dinners, then weekends hiking in the gorge. He told me early on, I have money, a lot of it. My company just got acquired, but I need you to know me before you know that, because people change when they find out. So I knew, but my family didn't. To them, Marcus was just the tech guy Zoe's dating. They'd met him twice, once at Thanksgiving, once at Dad's birthday. Both times, Marcus wore jeans and a sweater, answered questions politely, and said he did software consulting. My father never asked follow-up questions. Neither did Ryan. They saw what they expected, a nice, boring boyfriend for their nice, boring daughter. What they didn't see? Marcus Chen was the former CTO of Cascade Dynamics, a medical AI company acquired by Medtronic for $920 million 2 years ago. His portion of the sale was enough that he'd never need to work again. Now he ran a small venture fund investing in healthcare startups. We kept it quiet intentionally. I wanted to see how my family treated me when they thought I had nothing. The answer? Exactly how I'd always suspected. The dinner invitation came last week. Family celebration, the text said. Waterfront restaurant, Saturday at 7. I almost said no. Then I thought about Grandma Ruth's letter. When they finally see your worth, make sure you're already gone. I said yes. Salty's on the Columbia sits right on the river. All windows and overpriced seafood. I wore a simple black dress, nothing fancy. Marcus wore slacks and a button-down. We looked exactly like what my family expected. Respectable, unremarkable, safe. Dad ordered a $200 bottle of wine without looking at the price. Carolyn had her hair freshly done. Ryan showed up 20 minutes late with Vanessa, talking loudly about wedding venues. We're thinking the Sentinel Hotel, Ryan announced, dropping into his chair. Ballroom holds 300, live band, open bar, the whole thing. Vanessa beamed. It's going to be magical. Dad smiled. That's my boy. Go big or go home. I took a sip of water. Marcus's hand found mine under the table. Appetizers came. Dad told a boring story about a property deal. Carolyn asked Marcus what he did with computers. He said various projects, and she lost interest immediately. Then, between the appetizer and main course, Dad pulled out the envelope. I watched it slide across the table, watched Ryan open it, watched his face light up. $47,000. This should cover most of the venue and catering. Consider it our gift. Every son deserves a wedding his family can be proud of. My throat closed up. What about Zoe's fund? The words came out before I could stop them. Dad frowned. What about it? You told me that money was for my wedding. You said it was safely invested for my future. Carolyn jumped in. Zoe, honey, that was before we knew about Ryan's development program expenses. We had to make choices. Besides, you and Marcus aren't even engaged yet. We are, actually. Marcus said quietly. Everyone turned. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a small box, and set it on the table, opened it. A simple platinum band with a single diamond. I proposed last month at Multnomah Falls. She said yes, we were going to tell you tonight. My mother gasped. Ryan's smile froze. Dad looked between us, calculations happening behind his eyes. Well, said Dad slowly, congratulations, but surely you understand, a first wedding in the family is special. Ryan's marrying into the Torres family. They're connected, influential. This is about optics, about business relationships. Your wedding can be intimate, personal. You don't need a big production. I felt something crack inside my chest. So his wedding matters more than mine because of business? I asked. Because of family legacy, Dad corrected. Ryan's carrying the Mitchell name forward. He's taking over the business. That requires certain presentations. Marcus set his fork down carefully. And what am I taking forward? Dad barely glanced at him. I'm sure you'll have a nice career. Tech is stable, but it's not the same as building something generational. That's when I started laughing, not happy laughter, the kind that happens when something's so absurd your brain can't process it any other way. Zoe, Carolyn warned, I gave away my wedding fund, the money you promised me since I was 16, money that was supposed to be mine. You gave it to Ryan for his third chance at a career after he failed out of 2 programs and defaulted on a car loan you co-signed. Ryan's face went red. That's bullshit. You defaulted, I said flatly. Dad paid it off. I know because he told me he couldn't help me with my student loans because he was cash-strapped from helping Ryan get back on his feet. This is inappropriate dinner conversation, Dad said, voice hard. What's inappropriate is stealing from your daughter. The word hung there. Stealing. Dad's jaw clenched. I didn't steal anything. That money belongs to the family. I allocated it where it would do the most good. For him, not for me. Never for me. Marcus's hand squeezed mine. I was shaking. You've always been jealous, Ryan said. Since Mom married Dad, you've resented me. This is just another tantrum. I turned to look at my brother. Really look at him. He believed it. He actually believed I was jealous. Do you remember the year I was 17? I asked. He blinked. What? I was working 2 jobs, one at the gym, one at a coffee shop, trying to save for college. You told Dad you needed a car for your internship. He gave you Mom's old Honda. That was a piece of shit, Ryan muttered. It ran. I asked if I could use it on weekends. You said no because you needed it for social networking. So I kept riding the bus, at night in winter, from my shift that ended at 11 p.m. My voice cracked. I hated that it cracked. One night, a guy followed me off the bus for 4 blocks. I had my keys between my fingers like they taught us in that self-defense assembly. I called Dad. He didn't answer. I called you. You didn't answer. I called Carolyn. She said, "Can this wait until morning? I'm watching a show." The table went silent. The next day, I asked if maybe I could have the car on nights I worked late, just for safety. Dad said, I looked right at him. You said, "You're strong girl. You need to learn the world isn't always going to accommodate you." I don't remember that, Dad whispered. I do, every word, because that's the night I realized I was alone. Marcus stood up slowly. Everyone looked at him. I think, he said, voice calm, there's something you should know about me. He pulled out his phone, tapped a few times, and turned discerned toward my father. Portland Business Journal. Cascade Dynamics acquired by Medtronic for $920 million. Below it, a photo. Marcus in a suit, shaking hands with Medtronic CEO. Caption, co-founder and CTO Marcus Chen describes the acquisition as validation of our mission to democratize rehabilitation technology. Dad stared at the screen, then at Marcus, then at me. You're that Marcus Chen? I am. The medical AI guy? Yes. My father's expression cycled through confusion, realization, and something close to panic. Why didn't you say something? Because, Marcus said, sitting back down, I wanted to see how you'd treat Zoe when you thought I had nothing to offer, when you thought she'd chosen someone unremarkable, someone safe. He looked at each of them. You failed that test. My father tried to speak. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. If I'd known, he started. That's the problem, I cut him off. You would have treated me differently if you knew he was rich, not because you suddenly valued me, because you valued his money. Carolyn leaned forward. That's not fair, Zoe. We've always loved you. We just made practical decisions. You chose Ryan every single time, and tonight you did it again, right in front of me, like I wouldn't even notice. Ryan pushed his chair back. This is insane. You're making this into some huge drama because you're jealous that I'm getting married first. I'm not jealous. My voice came out louder than I meant. People at nearby tables turned. I don't want your wedding, Ryan. I want our father to look at me once, just once, and see me as worth protecting the way he protects you. Tears were running down my face now. I could feel Marcus beside me, solid and quiet. Do you know what it's like? I asked, voice breaking, to watch your father hand $47,000 to your brother for a party when 6 years ago he couldn't spare $200 to help you buy textbooks? To sit here and watch him smile and toast while handing away money that was supposed to be yours. Dad's face had gone from pale to gray. I thought, you were doing fine. You have a job, a career. I have $60,000 in student loans. I have a job where I work with people in the worst pain of their lives, and I come home so exhausted sometimes I sleep in my car in the parking lot before I can drive home. I have nightmares about emergency room calls when I did my clinical rotations. I had to go to therapy to stop having panic attacks when I hear ambulance sirens. I wiped my face with my napkin. But you never asked, because asking would have meant seeing me, and seeing me would have complicated the story where Ryan is the golden child who needs everything, and I'm the strong one who needs nothing. My mother started crying. Real tears, not the pretty kind. We didn't know, she whispered. You didn't ask. Marcus spoke again, voice quiet but clear. Before tonight, Zoe and I had a plan. We were going to surprise you after our wedding. We were going to pay off your mortgage, all $340,000 of it. We were going to set up a trust for Ryan's future kids. We were going to invest in Mitchell Properties so you could expand like you've been wanting to. Dad's eyes went wide. But that plan depended on you showing Zoe that you valued her for herself, that you'd protect her even when you thought she'd chosen someone unremarkable, that you'd keep your promises even when it wasn't convenient. Marcus picked up his water glass. You didn't, so that plan just ended. Wait, Dad said quickly. Wait, let's not be hasty. We can fix this. How? I asked. How do you fix 17 years of choosing him over me? We'll give you the money back. We'll write you a check right now. It's not about the money, I was shouting now, didn't care. It was never about the money. It's about you looking me in the eye and telling me my brother's wedding matters more than mine, because his life matters more than mine. The table shook as I stood up. My legs felt weak. I need air. I walked toward the bathroom on legs that didn't feel like mine, made it into a stall, locked the door. Then I completely fell apart. Not pretty crying, the ugly kind where you can't breathe and you're gulping air and your whole body is shaking. I slid down the wall and sat on the bathroom floor, hands pressed over my mouth to keep the sounds in. The door opened. Zoe? Marcus's voice. In the women's bathroom. He didn't care. I'm okay, I tried to say, but it came out as a sob. He knocked on the stall door. I opened it. He looked at me on the floor and just sat down beside me without a word, put his arm around me while I cried into his shoulder. What if I'm wrong? What if I'm being dramatic and they really didn't mean it like that and I just blew up my entire family over— Zoe, stop. What if in 10 years I look back and realize I destroyed everything over— You didn't destroy anything. They did years ago. You're just finally admitting it. I cried harder. There was a knock on the door. Zoe, my mother's voice. Please come out. Your father wants to talk. I looked at Marcus. He nodded. I'm right here. We stood up. I washed my face in the sink. My eyes were swollen, mascara ruined. I looked wrecked. Good. Let them see it. We went back to the table. Dad was standing, looking somehow smaller. He owes me an apology, he said stiffly. I waited. I made decisions I thought were right for the family. I didn't realize how they affected you. That wasn't my intention. What was your intention? He floundered. To make sure everyone was taken care of. Everyone except me? That's not— He stopped, ran his hand through his hair. After your mother died, I didn't know how to be a father to a daughter. Carolyn helped. Ryan was easier. I understood boys, sports, business. You were so independent, so capable. I thought you didn't need me. It was the closest thing to honesty I'd ever heard from him, and it still wasn't enough. I was 10 years old, I said quietly. I needed you. I just learned not to ask. He looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw something I'd never seen before. Genuine remorse and fear. He was afraid of losing me. Can we start over? He asked. Can we fix this? I wanted to say yes. God, part of me wanted to say yes so badly, to go back to the table, accept their apologies, and pretend the last 17 years hadn't happened. But I thought about sitting on that bathroom floor, about Marcus holding me while I sobbed, about Grandma Ruth's letter. I don't know, I said honestly. I don't know if you can fix 17 years in one conversation. We can try, Carolyn said. Please, Zoe, you're my daughter too. No, I said, not unkindly. No, I'm not. I'm the girl you tolerated because you married my father. You made that clear when you told him to give my money to your son. Her face crumpled. I picked up my purse. I need time, space. I need to figure out who I am when I'm not trying to earn your approval. How long? Dad asked. Maybe 6 months, maybe longer, maybe forever. Zoe, I'll let you know about the wedding, whether you're invited. Right now, I honestly don't know. I walked out with Marcus beside me. Behind us, my family sat in silence at a table with uneaten food and a check that bought my brother's dream and cost them their daughter. We got married in April at a small winery in Dundee, 40 people. My PT clinic colleagues, Marcus's business partners, some college friends. My mom's sister flew in from Boston. I hadn't talked to her in years, but she showed up and cried during the vows. My family wasn't there. I sent the invitation. Dad called immediately. Of course we'll come. We've been waiting for you to reach out. There are conditions, I said. What conditions? You sit in the back. You don't give a speech. You don't talk to anyone about Mitchell properties or Ryan's wedding or family business. You come, you witness, you leave. Silence on the other end. That seems harsh, he said finally. Take it or leave it. He left it. So they didn't come. And on my wedding day, walking down the aisle on the arm of my PT mentor, Dr. Sarah Lee Yu, I felt not happy exactly, not sad, something in between, relief mixed with grief. But now it's October and things are more complicated. I'm sitting in my car in the parking lot of a Starbucks in Lake Oswego. Inside, my father is waiting. He asked to meet, said he had something to tell me. I've been sitting here for 15 minutes, engine off, staring at the door. My phone buzzes. Marcus, you don't have to go in. You can drive away, no judgment. Me, I know. I think I need to hear what he has to say. Marcus, I'm 10 minutes away if you need extraction. I smile at that, take a breath, get out of the car. Dad's at a corner table, coffee cup between his hands. He looks older, grayer. When he sees me, he stands up awkwardly. Thank you for coming. I nod, sit down, order a tea I don't want just to give my hands something to do. How's married life? He asks. Good. I saw the photos on Facebook. Your aunt posted them. You looked beautiful. Thanks. Awkward silence. He clears his throat. Ryan's wedding is next month. I know. He sent me an invitation. Are you coming? No. He nods like he expected that. He's disappointed. He wants you there. He wants the optics of a complete family. He flinches. That's not entirely fair, isn't it? He stares into his coffee. Things have been difficult since April. Carolyn's upset. She feels like she's lost a daughter. Ryan keeps asking what he did wrong. And you? I ask. What do you feel? He looks up. His eyes are red-rimmed. Like I failed. Like I spent 17 years failing and didn't notice until it was too late. Something in his voice cracks. He's not performing. This is real. After you left the restaurant that night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what you said, about the night you were followed. I tried to remember that phone call, why I didn't answer. I couldn't. I don't remember. He rubs his face. So I went back through my calendar from that year, found the date. Know what I was doing that night? I shake my head. Playing poker with clients. I saw your call come in and ignored it because I was on a winning streak and didn't want to break my focus. The casual brutality of that statement hangs between us. I chose a poker game over my daughter's safety, and I didn't even remember doing it until you threw it in my face 6 years later. Why are you telling me this? Because I've been going to therapy. He says it like a confession. Twice a week since April, trying to figure out why I did what I did, why I chose Ryan over you again and again. I wait. My therapist says I saw Ryan as a second chance. After your mother died, I felt like I'd failed as a husband. I couldn't save her, but I could save him. Every time he messed up, I saw it as an opportunity to prove I wasn't a failure, that I could fix something. And you? You didn't need fixing. You were like your mother, smart, capable, independent, and every time I looked at you, I saw my biggest failure, the wife I couldn't save. So I looked away. Tears are running down his face now. My father, who I've never seen cry, who prides himself on being tough and practical. It doesn't excuse anything, he continues. It doesn't change what I did, but I needed you to know that it was never about you not being enough. It was always about me being broken and too proud to admit it. I don't know what to say. Part of me wants to reach across the table, hug him, and say it's okay. But it's not okay. I appreciate you telling me that, I say carefully. I know that wasn't easy. Is there any chance? His voice breaks. Is there any chance you could forgive me? Not now, I don't expect now, but someday? I look at this man who was supposed to protect me and chose poker games and golden children instead. This man who's finally, 17 years too late, telling the truth. I don't know, I say honestly. Some days I think maybe. Other days, I think about walking into that restaurant expecting a nice dinner and walking out knowing my own father valued me less than my brother, and I don't know if I can get past that. What would it take? He asks desperately. Tell me what I need to do. I don't know if there's anything you can do. Maybe time, maybe therapy, maybe nothing will ever be enough. So I just lost you? I think about that, about being lost. You didn't lose me, Dad. You chose not to find me. For 17 years, I was right there. You just never looked. He's crying openly now. Other customers are staring. I'm looking now, he whispers. I know, but I don't know if now is enough. I stand up. He stands too, reaches for my hand. I let him take it, briefly. I love you, Zoe. I know I didn't show it, but I do. I know. I just don't know if love without action means anything. I leave him there, crying into cold coffee in a Starbucks in Lake Oswego. Drive home in silence, hands tight on the wheel. Marcus is in the kitchen when I get home, making dinner. He looks up, reads my face. How'd it go? He apologized, really apologized, told me why he did it. He's in therapy. How do you feel? I sink into a chair, like I'm mourning someone who's still alive, like I want to forgive him and I also want to never see him again, like both things are true at the same time, and I don't know what to do with that. Marcus sits next to me, takes my hand. You don't have to do anything with it. You don't have to decide today. People keep asking, your family invited to Ryan's wedding? Have you talked to your dad? When are you going to make up? Like there's a timeline for this. There's not. I know, but also, I look at him. What if I regret this? What if he dies and I never gave him another chance, and I spend the rest of my life wondering if I was too harsh? And what if you give him another chance and he hurts you again? What if you spend your life giving him chances and he never changes? Both things scare me equally. Then maybe, Marcus says gently, the answer isn't to choose forgiveness or estrangement. Maybe it's to live in the gray space for a while. See if he actually changes. See if you can build something new. What would that even look like? I don't know. Coffee once a month? Therapy together? Boundaries that feel safe? Whatever you need it to look like. I lean my head on his shoulder. I don't know if I'm strong enough for that. You're strong enough for anything. That's never been the question. The question is what you want your life to look like, with them in it or not. I close my eyes. 6 months ago, I walked out of that restaurant thinking I'd never speak to my family again. That felt clear, righteous. Now, my father's in therapy, crying in public, telling the truth about his failures, and I don't know if that changes anything. Ask me in 6 months if I've forgiven him. Ask me in a year if I went to Christmas dinner. Ask me in 5 years if my kids call him Grandpa. Today, sitting in my kitchen with the man who saw my worth before my family did, I honestly don't know. But I know this. I'm not responsible for fixing my father's broken places anymore. I'm not responsible for making Ryan feel secure, or Carolyn feel like a good mother, or anyone feel comfortable with the choices I make to protect myself. I'm responsible for my own healing, for my own peace. And some days that means coffee with my father, and some days it means blocking his number, and some days it means sitting with the confusion and not knowing, and not being okay. I used to think there were 2 options: forgive everything or walk away forever. Now I know there's a third option: live in the gray space, hold both the love and the hurt, see what grows in the space between. My phone buzzes. Text from my father. Thank you for meeting me. I'll wait as long as it takes. I stare at it for a long time. Then I type, I can't promise anything, but I'm not saying no forever, just not yet. I hit send. Marcus kisses the top of my head. Proud of you. I don't even know what I just did. You left the door open. Just a crack. That's brave. Or stupid? Or both. I laugh, surprising myself. Yeah, maybe both. Outside, Portland rain starts to fall. Inside, I sit with my husband in our tiny kitchen, holding grief and hope in equal measure, and try to figure out what it means to love people who hurt you, and to protect yourself, and to leave room for change all at the same time. Ask me in a year if it was worth it. Ask me if I went to Ryan's wedding, or if my father walked me down the aisle at my vow renewal, or if we ever rebuilt what was broken. Today, I don't know, and maybe that's the most honest answer I've ever given. My name is Zoe Mitchell. I'm 28 years old. 6 months ago, I walked on my family. Today, I met my father for coffee and left before I had all the answers. I don't know if that makes me weak or strong or somewhere in between. I just know I'm still here, still trying, still learning that loving yourself sometimes means disappointing the people who never learned to love you right. And maybe that's enough. If you stayed until the end, you understand what real revenge looks like. It isn't loud, it isn't rushed, it's patient. This is Revenge with Remy. Subscribe and stay patient.